Jeremy's Raceway, Chapter 1, The Last Evening. By the summer of 1959, most people in Hallux Rigidus had stopped believing the raceway would ever be finished. For 11 years, the project had fought back. Storms arrived at inconvenient times, causing entire projects to be paused for days at a time. Equipment broke without warning. Mayor Newbury bought a brand new top-of-the-line generator so work could be done late into the night on time-sensitive projects. But after only 3 days, the fuse blew. Then the fuel was found contaminated. Then after a short time, the motor seized. And upon closer inspection, showed it was out of oil. But checking oil was one of the startup requirements. Deliveries vanished. To this day, a full load of rebar remains missing. The company insists they sent it, but it never arrived. Tony, the driver, was found at home with no recollection of the job. As these strange incidents continued, the cost of the track began to soar, and schedules suffered more and more. The safety of the site became a huge concern, and steps were taken to keep everyone safe. But even then, there were accidents and even some fatalities. Yet somehow the project endured. It seemed no one wanted it to fail. Everyone kept at it, day in and day out. Cost after cost, setback after setback. Slowly, it began to take shape. And now, standing alone near the entrance, Jeremy found himself staring at the final unfinished piece, the sign. This wasn't a simple sign, mounted on poles. Dad wanted everyone to see it for miles. This was not a sign, but a monument to hard times and perseverance of a people determined to see it through. And here it was, lying on its side, waiting to be set in place. Everything else was complete. The ticket booth leading to the grandstands, the garage where the cars would enter for repairs and upgrades, the track with its long stretches where drivers could open up and show their speed, and the sharp corners where they could show their skill. Everything was complete, except one thing that would attract them all. The one thing his dad was most proud of, the sign. The monument for the town to see, for the town to understand, for everyone to finally breathe. He wouldn't open the track without it. He wanted it to be the first thing people saw and the last thing they remembered. He always said a driver should know where they are. The massive illuminated letters stretched across the 2 enormous steel supports. Hallux Rigidus Raceway. Even unfinished, it was the largest sign the town had ever seen. Jeremy smiled. His father was going to love it. Not Mayor Newbury, Dad. The thought still made him grin. Tomorrow morning his father planned to visit the site one final time before opening day preparations began. For the first time in 11 years, there was almost nothing left to build. No more grandstands, no more garages, no more miles of fencing, drainage, and concrete, just the sign. Jeremy could already picture the look on his father's face when he saw it standing over the entrance. Everyone had gone home for the night. It wasn't permitted for anyone to be alone at the site, but as foreman, Jeremy figured a few extra minutes wouldn't hurt. The raceway stretched before him in the fading light. For the first time in years, it was quiet. Jeremy was so used to the sound of hammers pounding and welders fabricating supports. There were no crews shouting orders and no engines roaring with the desire to move. Only a strange calm he had never felt here before, not since the beginning. The silence was deafening. For so long, construction had been a part of his daily life that he wasn't entirely sure what came next. He laughed to himself. Emily would probably thrill if he spent less time at the track. The thought brought a smile to his face. She had been patient, far more patient than he deserved. For years, she had listened to the stories about concrete deliveries, drainage plans, budgets, permits, and equipment failures. She had endured late nights, missed dinners, and countless promises that the raceway was almost finished. Now it finally was, or almost. Jeremy glanced toward the sign. The crane still held upright between two massive foundation wells. The steel support poles sat perfectly centered, waiting for concrete. It required only one more step. Tomorrow the crew would finish the pour. Then the lighting would be tested. After that, opening day. 11 years. Finished. Jeremy climbed into his pickup and tossed his gloves onto the passenger seat. A folded blue blanket sat beside them, still folded and wrapped. Next to it sat a small toy cement truck, bright yellow, with a movable barrel. The kind of toy little boys inevitably rolled through mud puddles. Jeremy picked it up, turned it over in his hands. He smiled. A few days earlier, he had spent almost 20 minutes studying the thing in a store, while the clerk tried unsuccessfully not to laugh. The toy was special. It represented the truck that for 11 years had appeared at every major milestone of the raceway. It poured the foundations for the grandstands. The garages were mostly concrete with great bays for many cars. The retaining walls kept what was meant to stay in, and what was meant to stay out, out. The track itself took 100 truckloads. Without that simple cement truck, none of it would exist. He could already imagine himself showing Jeremy Jr. how one worked, how the drum rotates to keep the cement soft, how the chute swings to place the cement in exactly the right location, how the controls make the cement flow and stop. Emily had rolled her eyes when he mentioned it. He's not even born yet. Jeremy only grinned. That's no excuse to be unprepared. The memory made him chuckle. He carefully set the toy back beside the blanket. Then he looked up. The sign loomed against the darkening sky. His smile faded. Tomorrow morning, Dad would be here. Not Mayor Newbury, Dad. For a moment, Jeremy could see it as clearly as if it were already happening. His father climbing out of the truck, looking up, realizing the sign was finished. No more delays inflating the cost. No more setbacks forcing him into meetings where he asked the town executives for patience. No more problems turning his hair gray. All the stress of 11 years done. Jeremy imagined the old mayor's face and felt a warmth spread through his chest. The raceway itself didn't matter in that moment. Not really. Everything was already complete, except for the sign. The project was already won. What mattered was seeing his father happy, seeing the relief on Emily's face, knowing his late nights and encounters with strange dangers were behind him. Jeremy wanted that moment, wanted it badly. His eyes drifted towards the concrete truck. The chute was already positioned nearby. The controls weren't complicated. At least they didn't look complicated. He had watched operators do it hundreds of times, maybe thousands. A simple foundation pour, nothing more. He could have it finished before dark. Jeremy leaned back in the seat, thinking. The crew would handle it in the morning. That was the smart decision, the safe decision. And then he realized something. Today was the day it all began. What a gift for his father. Not just the track completed, but completed on the very day, exactly 11 years ago, when the project had started. Jeremy had been just a construction worker then. Now he was foreman of the entire project. Today, not tomorrow, was the end of a cycle. Jeremy sighed with excitement, then opened the truck door. The evening air felt cooler now, the shadows longer. He looked once more at the blanket sitting on the seat of the truck, innocent and waiting. He looked at the toy truck, its bright colors beckoning. Then he looked at the sign and all it represented. He grabbed his gloves and headed towards the concrete truck.